Video 3. So last time we added a little route to the back end, and I'm going to keep doing, this is basically the same format I'm going to keep following. I'm going to add probably a couple of data routes, then come up to the front end and index and change some things around so that we can add some content in like forms or whatever we need, and then possibly go into the map, our JavaScript folder, to add some functionality to it, so that we can attach all the events and things that we need to happen when users are looking at our stuff. So if we look at what we have that we downloaded from that repo, I don't know why it's called port map, but over here he's got a nice menu. This styling here is styled using Bootstrap, and when you style something using Bootstrap, you're using a consistent framework. And I say consistent and popular because I think right now Bootstrap, no, that's not what I want. Bootstrap, oh my gosh. I don't know if my, oh my god, it's slow. So Bootstrap is a CSS HTML framework. It has so much stuff that we'll never really even touch the surface of what's going on. However, the reason why it's good for us is because of sites like this, Bootsnip. Bootsnip is components that are written using Bootstrap. So if I wanted like a menu bar, well, here's all the different types of menu bars that are in Bootsnip, right? And they give you a preview, the HTML that will literally just cut and paste. These are the scripts that get included to use Bootstrap. But if we look at our HTML, we already have all those files included, so most of them will work right out of the box. They give you CSS to style them, and if there's some interaction with JavaScript, you get that as well. And so if you find one that's not quite working or whatever, or you find one that has issues, you just go find another one. Different kind of menu, accordion menu, so when you click on it, it opens and closes. So this functionality gets added sometimes with CSS, but let's see. I think it might, the toggle part, yeah, collapses. That's built into the styling. So there's no real logic that we have to write. It's just built in. So if we wanted to use that, we would go. We don't want the whole div. You just usually, well, because we already have our stuff within a div. So if I wanted to put that into this HTML on the front end in our index, let me back up a little bit and let's go look at our actual page. So this is layers, this is layer attributes, this is a search, this is a print, and I think location. So how do we find those in our actual HTML? And let's just do a search for location. Well, he's got a location modal. What's a modal? A modal is, it's not necessarily a pop-up. In this case, it's a window that has a styling that really, it's off the screen. It's in the page, but when you click on the button here, it changes the styling and says, all right, make the left from a negative number, which makes it off screen, to a positive number, which makes it show, and then there's an animation as it transitions. So all right, so here's his location modal, and so if we wanted to copy, we could copy this whole block and make our own modal. So let's think about that. Here's a search modal. So if I wanted to make my own modal. Well, first of all, hold on. Let's see if location is anywhere else. Well, there's a few. Location. And here's a, sidebar menu tools. Okay, and then we have draw coordinates, search, and class is clickable, data toggle, modal. All this stuff is built in. And I know you're not going to get a tenth of the code behind of everything that's going on, but it's a black box type thing. So let's copy this, and I'm going to say not a search modal, it's going to be a states modal. And maybe let's call it a cities. Let's display all the cities in a country if we click on it. Cities modal, and then we'll say display cities, and I don't know how yet. So there's a search icon, but we probably don't want that. So let's go back over to Font Awesome and let's look at their icons and see if they have anything with a city. And so there's Font Awesome Pro, which we're not going to pay for. And so yeah, there's at least there's a couple. Not amazing. Let's just take this one. We'll copy, because there's styling that goes in. This is a an I is it used to stand for italics, but I guess they took it over. So I'm going to take this whole tag, replace it with I, class is equal to FAS, FA city, and we're going to say city button. And I'm just going to save my HTML. By the way, I installed live server, and it's just a local server. And so when you after you install it, it gives you a button down here at the bottom, and this will kill the previous one, but it'll say go live. And when you click on it, it opens it up in your browser, and it runs it using a local server. It's pretty convenient for us. So as you can see, I added something here, but when you click on it, it doesn't do anything. And that's because we haven't really told it what to do, because what it's supposed to do, this data target, there's this cities modal. Well, this data target is search modal. Well, is there so there's class modal left, ID, search modal. So the Bootstrap has built in that if we click on this button, class clickable, and its target is search modal, so it goes and finds the modal with ID search, and it changes its CSS and displays it. So that's why when you click on search, the search modal all of a sudden becomes viewable and gets displayed. So we're going to have to make our own modal. So let's steal the search modal. So I'm just going to copy it, and I don't remember if we were up or down, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to call this city modal, and I'll stick with his naming conventions and comments. So this is city modal. Let me close this so we got more room. And so we got, really, this is the big one. So we got a header. This is search tools. We're going to say like display cities. And then down here in the modal body, there's a bunch of stuff that only deal with the search stuff. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then it has a little script in here, which this is a nice little organization tool. We'll just, so whatever modals we create, We could just really keep the scripts that deal with that modal right here within this little chunk of code. So I have city modal. Let's see here if there's anything else I need to change. This has a search icon, so let's change that to our city. Let me go back to copy that code from Font Awesome. And you can do a bunch with these. You can stack them on top of each other. You can color them. In fact, I have all these plane crashes data, and I put a fire icon with a plane rotated pointing to the ground that was crashing. But I thought it was in bad taste. So my city modal, here's search. I'm just throwing it in here because I think it displays it at the top. So I'm going to save this. Save. If we hurry back over, we're going to miss it, but it's reloading. So we got city. Hopefully if we click, nothing. So let me figure out what's going on. Let's open up our developer tools. And first of all, if the console, that's normal. Nothing's going on. Let me just do a complete refresh just to make sure. So how do we figure out what's going on here? This says go select an element to look at, and I will. I'm going to click, and it gives you all the styling over here. So when I click on it, look down here to see if anything's changing. No, I don't see anything changing. Computed. Alright, let me go back and look at the code real fast. See if I missed any ID or div class, modal body, modal header, tab index, my modal. I did save it, right? And then up at here at top, we had city button, clickable data toggle, modal, data target. Let me make sure I copied this right. And then the ID here, I think that's it. City modal, cities modal. Let me save that. Page is reloading. So remember, IDs are like variable names. They have to be the same exact. So we have an empty modal because in our code, I took everything out. Here's the role document, div class modal content. So everything in between these two tags will be shown. The header is just styling that top. You saw the city icon up here, and then display cities, the text was right here, and then they attached a close button to the top of that, and it looks a little out of order, but just cut and paste, run with how it gets created in the other segments, and you'll be fine. So again, we added a city button here in the menu. I click on it, it toggles the style, it displays an empty modal, close button works, and that's it for this video. We'll add some functionality to that modal and grab some data from the back end next.